This is Melvyn. He's a brave, friendly, loving man who is now in control of his life, choosing to do what he wants when he wants. He would like to tell his story about how people who have a learning disability have been, and in some cases still are, labelled. Melvyn now lives in his own home and has his own car. But this was not always the case. Like many people with a learning disability, Melvyn lived in a number of large institutions for many years. This is Nigel, Jim, and David, who have helped Melvyn to tell his story. Nigel, Jim, and David researched information about different institutions and how life was for Melvyn and many other people. People who lived in institutions were deprived of some of the most common experiences. The following are quotes from staff who worked in institutions during the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
It sounds appalling, but the food was served and put on the bottom of people's beds, or put at the side of the chair, and the poor person that got their dinner last, it would be stone cold. I blush to myself when I say it, but we used to put everything in one dish, and I used to feel queasy feeding, but they put the dinner, pudding and tea in one bowl and it just went down.
It would be get up at 7:30 a.m, breakfast around 8 a.m, sit in the lounge all day, walk in the lounge all day, lunch around 1 p.m, sit in the lounge all day, tea about 5 p.m, sit around all evening, bath time or wash time around 8 p.m, bed around 9 p.m. That was the day-to-day structure.
Often people did not have their personal possessions or clothing. People shared communal clothing and other items such as a toothbrush.
Control within the institutions clearly did not lie with the residents. Life was organised in terms of what was convenient for staff, rather than what was best for people with learning disabilities.
Jim went along to have a look at the Hatton Institution. The hospital has now been converted into flats. These are some of the words that were used to describe people with a learning disability. Idiot, imbecile, defective, severely mentally handicapped, mental retard, moron, retard, mental deficiency, mental, aggressive, difficult. Many people with learning disabilities were and still are labelled as having challenging behaviour and being difficult. Quite often these barriers are a result of unmet needs. We all need meaningful relationships, a sense of safety and well-being, power, things to look forward to, a sense of value and self-worth, relevant skills and knowledge, supporters who are themselves supported. You cannot replace the value of spending time with people to really get to know them and to find out about the things that really matter to them, building up trust and respect and giving people the time and opportunity to show what they want and don't want in their lives. We can do this by asking ourselves these questions. How can we help the person to achieve a sense of health and well-being, expand and deepen their relationships, have more fun in everyday community places, have more power, make a contribution to others, learn valued skills, help the person supporters to get the support they need.
I'm Lawrence. I'm just a friend of Mel's really. We call round, Sean and I come round probably once a month or so. And at the moment we call round to have a curry and just spend some time with Mel. And that seems to work for Mel, and it certainly works for us. We came round and just started doing kind of odd jobs around his house, just as a way of sort of being in Mel's house with him without particularly intruding. So Mel kind of got used to us in that sort of way, really.
My name's Sean. As Lauren says, I'm a friend of Melvyn's. I've just come round to see Melvyn. Had a few barbecues. Come round for his birthday party, had a nice party, plenty of food, didn't we, Melvyn? And just basically just come round to be help him socialise a bit more, and just hope that he gets something out of it.
Melvyn now has a good circle of friends and support who have really taken time to let Melvyn feel confident and comfortable to live his life how he wants to. Nigel, Jim and David interviewed Duncan, who knew Melvyn when he lived in an institution.
I was a support worker.
Right.
And I was helping to support and care for Melvyn when he was at the White House.
What was it like there?
It was quite a busy place. There were 6 people there, all different age groups.
Did you have any training?
Well, when I went there, I didn't have any training before going, because it was my first job,
Right.
care work, so I was completely new. Obviously, I was shown how to do things before I did anything on my own for a few weeks.
What was the daily routine?
The daily routine was that this is where it was a bit institutionalised, in that we had 3 shifts. We had a night shift, a morning shift and an afternoon shift. So to some extent the daily routine was around the staff shifts.
What did Melvyn enjoy doing?
He enjoyed, one memory I've got of Melvyn is that he really enjoyed having a takeaway.
Right.
Curries, he really enjoyed his curries.
Wow.
Once you got to know him a little bit better, he was a very nice person to know. And just took you a little bit of time for him to trust you sometimes.
They also interviewed different people who are involved in Melvyn's life now.
I know Melvyn well because I've been supporting him to live in his own house for a long time, going to 3 years now.
What are his hobbies?
I would say his hobbies is cooking and say like walking, watching like Deal and Not Deal.
Does Melvyn understand on what I said, and how do you know?
Oh yes, he understands very well. Melvyn communicates very well through signs, or he can hear very well, so he hears and understands.
How long have you known Melvyn?
I know Melvyn because I work for Get a Life, and Get a Life has supported Melvyn to live in his own house for the last 3 and a bit years.
How does Melvyn communicate?
How does Melvyn communicate? He listens carefully and he watches very carefully, and because we've known him for a long time now, we can usually work out how he's feeling about things, and we check that with him. So we say, you seem to be uncomfortable with that, Melvyn, is that right? And then he'll give us a response. I feel that he really understands feelings and emotions, and he'll show us if he's distressed. So when somebody left in the team that he was really close to, he cried when we talked about her leaving. When he had to go to hospital when he was really poorly, when the first time I went to see him when he was back home, he really shouted at me and pushed me out of the house. I think it's probably taken him a long time to feel confident in us and to feel that he can trust us and to feel safe with us. I think in the last 3-4 months, he's suddenly become like a new man. I think because we've been very gentle and we've tried to work with him in a way where we've waited for him to be ready to do things. We've offered him lots of opportunities and just said, when you're ready, we can do these things.
This is Melvyn's life now. Like everyone, Melvyn wants things to look forward to and have opportunities to try new things, and these are some of Melvyn's. Bake more cakes. Have 2 holidays a year. Get another bench for his garden. Try using a library. Go to a football match. Send emails to his family.